we're getting to what college coaches will jokingly say is the busiest month in college football.
Oh, yeah.
June.
Oh, gosh.
So headline number 3, recruiting is about to pick up here in the month of June.
Yeah.
What does that mean for Nebraska? The Husker coaching staff will be at satellite camps on June 1st. They'll have 2 coaches, E.J. Barthel and Rob Dvorak, at the mega camp in Lindenwood in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
And then on June 3rd and 4th, they will have coaches in Belton, Texas, 7 coaches at Mary Hardin Baylor, where they were at a year ago. And then the next night, on Tuesday night, they'll have coaches, 7 of the same coaches at Houston Christian. So they will have a lot of satellite camp work to start out the month of June before coming back to Lincoln and essentially having 2 of their most important weeks of the recruiting stretch. They'll have 2 Friday Night Lights camps. They're going to have 2 major official visitor weekends on June 14th and June 21st. That will kind of set the stage for this recruiting class. So there's a lot to chew on here as Nebraska embarks on what's going to be a very busy month of June.
Yeah, chew on this. Encircle your calendars. Those Friday Night Light camps are June 7th and June 14th. So those are the Friday Night Light camps. The Belton and Houston camps are critical. One thing I remember about last year was Braylon Prude. Pure diamond in the rough, right? Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, he wasn't even known by anybody. I'm talking to Han. We're trying to get our guests lined up here. I'm not trying to ignore you. I run the show here. You try to call me out as I'm doing show business here.
Who you're talking to there? Anyway, Braylon Prude. Remember Braylon Prude.
Braylon Prude.
Come out. I think it's Braylon Prude. Yeah, it came out of nowhere. Just nobody would pay attention to. Then all of a sudden, the head coach is eyeballing him, they're timing him, and this kid's a pure diamond in the rough. And wouldn't you say at that point last summer we were just kind of really getting into this narrative that this staff is largely about, diamonds in the rough is kind of their specialty. And Prude was a great example, and you saw it all play out in front of you, as I did too.
Like they had a lot of offers that were made in June that previous staffs would never have made at Nebraska.
Oh, no way.
Rex Guthrie, Donovan Jones, Braylon Prude.
Yep.
You go down the line, there were several camp offers made, and Rule sent a message that, hey, if you come and work out and you check the boxes of what we're looking for, we'll offer you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be interested if it's as many offers as a year ago, because I do think they're caught up more on their evaluations. They've already made a lot of offers. They've already done a lot of these things. A year ago, they were just getting going.
Okay.
So I don't know how many more will surprise them. Now, there are some guys like locally, like a Marion Jackson from Millard South, someone
receiver.
The receiver. He's got prospects like that. Will they earn offers at camp as underclassmen in-state players? Sawyer Schilke from Kearney is currently a Northern Illinois commit.
Okay.
Very talented edge player.
Okay.
He's going to come to camp more than likely. Could he earn an offer at camp in June? We saw that play out with Donovan Jones. I don't think anybody expected Donovan Jones from Omaha North to get an offer, and he got an offer after he earned it on a workout last year.
Mm-hmm. Amarian Jackson's really one to watch close.
He's got Minnesota, Illinois. He's got some pretty big ones early.
Yeah, he's a long strider.
Broke the record for receiving. He's going to end up being the all-time leading high school receiver if he stays healthy in Nebraska high school football history.
Right. You could say that after sophomore year.
Yeah. His sophomore year is one of the best sophomore years ever put up on paper. And you look at Iowa, Minnesota, Illinois, Iowa State. So a lot of attention already for Amarian Jackson.
June, getting back to June, it's so big. I was reading your 3-2-1 column today. It is, if you read Sean's column, it really kind of bowls you over how important June is. It's the satellite camps. It's the on-campus camps. It's getting your class, I'd say, Sean, I don't want to say finalized, your class of 2025, but you're going to know its personality, that class, and you're going to be able to size it up pretty well at the end of June, right?
Oh, no question. And it goes dead after that.
This is huge. It's a huge month. It's a gigantic month in college football. And I think a lot of people, particularly people my age, I don't even know if they fully grasp that yet, how big this month is.
Well, June 23rd.
In fact, can I say one thing? If you're looking to subscribe to Husker Online, this would be a good time to do it because we're on the cusp of a lot of news.
And we're going to be covering satellite camps, and Elite 11 could be on the radar too with TJ Lateef in California. So a lot.
Yeah, there's that. We didn't even mention that. TJ Lateef's at Elite 11. That's right.
But essentially from May 30th to June 23rd, that is when schools can have camps and they can have visitors on campus. Then after June 23rd, it goes dead. So coaches will go on vacation for a month. And this is kind of one of the new negotiations they have to do to keep these coaches' sanity.
Yeah.
Give them that July month to get away, and they can still work.
Mm-hmm. They will too.
But the key is they can't host visitors.
Right.
Like as long as you have your store open to host visitors, you're always going to be busy with recruiting.
Yep.
But when they close down the store, you can leave at least and work remotely. And,
on your phone. I mean, you just work your phone.
You and I, we're the same. Like when I go on vacation,
it's not really a vacation.
I'm working. Like,
right. I know you are.
Like,
I just don't go on vacation. Is the way I do it.
Like I try to take off. Like, well, I'm not going to write the weekly rundown this week, and you get hammered. I mean, people are like, "Where's the rundown?" You know, like where's Tunnel Talk? I mean,
where's Tunnel Talk's a big one.
And we have Tunnel Talk, by the way, Friday.
Yes, we do. Get your stuff ready, Sean.
But month of June, these satellite camps, and they chose to stick with Belton again. And then Houston Christian.
Houston Christian. Belton's a smaller camp.
They're both double headers, though. There's a morning and afternoon session in both. Now, last year, Houston was just one session.
I wonder if we'll see Belton grow this year. Belton was a smaller camp, not loaded with talent.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. And they got a walk-on tight end out of that camp. I'm blanking on his name, but he was from Minnesota.
Is that right? I don't remember that. But then Houston, it ramps up. I mean, the
Houston one's legit.
Yeah, you see some bona fide big time talent in Houston. Not that you don't in Belton. It's just not as many people there.
Yeah, it's out there.
Yeah,
I was hoping the Houston one didn't start until later because if we go, it's kind of a haul to go from Belton to Houston. And
if we choose to go, we'll handle it.
Nebraska's coaching staff, I think, flies. They take a jet, so they can get there in and out pretty quickly. But then Friday Night Light camps start up June 7th.
So that Friday.
Yeah, so it gets going, and there's 2 Friday Night Light camps. There's a walk-on camp, or there's a fullback camp, and a postgraduate camp too.
Yeah, those are big. They got James Williams out of the postgraduate camp.
And Luke Longville.
So those are, and then, the fullback camp is sort of paying homage to a position that was remarkably important in this program. I kind of like that they do that.
I mean, the fullback though doesn't.
Explain that to the.
They kind of had a quiet spring. I'll just be diplomatic in saying it that way. I don't know what the role. I mean, the fullback to me is more the tight end now. I think athletic tight ends that can move around.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like the true fullback is different compared. But then I just got back from Nashville as well, and we had the On3 Elite Series event out there, and that was spectacular. 42 of the top high school football prospects, 4 and 5 stars only, like the top 5 stars and top 4 stars were invited, and they brought in educational NIL speakers from sports agent Jimmy Sexton to NIL attorneys to former NFL players, Will Compton. It was a full day of speakers so the athletes and their parents could learn and hear all these things. And once again, Shannon Terry has always been 1 or 2 steps ahead of every move he's made. And this is another brilliant.
Who is this Shannon Terry you speak of?
The guy that writes your paycheck, Steve Sipple.
Right. But the people don't know that. The people were talking.
I mean, he's I would say a lot of people know who he is. I say it because, I mean, he started Rivals.com. He started 24/7 Sports, and he started On3. So
there he is, right? Is that him?
The whole industry. But this was at the event I was at. Did catch up with Will Compton as well, as Compton gave a speech. He's coming back for the Colorado game. So he's pretty pumped up about what's going on.
Who's not pumped up about Colorado? I mean, it's going to be a gigantic game. Now, you talked to David Sanders and Michael Terry.
Yeah, and Michael Terry, look, Nebraska's in a great spot with him. I think you can make a case they might be the team to beat. I mean,
San Antonio kid, right?
5-star athlete. They like him as a Debo Samuel type.
There you go.
David Sanders, not going to happen. I just don't. He took a picture with 6 hats. Nebraska was not in the picture.
Okay.
I mean, he told me point blank, I visited Nebraska because of Raiola. And that was really the end of that. So David Sanders, and look, they hadn't been recruiting him very long. I mean, Nebraska, the other teams have been recruiting David Sanders for 2 or 3 years.
That's it's tough. It's hard.
This is the best. I mean, this is
right.
This would be like in basketball terms,
Getting
a 5-star basketball player that Duke and Kentucky won.
Right.
I mean,
look at his list.
He's got every offer you can imagine. He's going to get over $1 million to play somewhere.
Right. It's hard. It's hard for a kid like that to take a flyer on any program. I feel like if you're going to take a flyer right now on a program, though, Nebraska would be one to do.
See, that was what was interesting about that Bill Callahan era of recruiting, that they did get a lot of 5-star, high 4-star guys to take a flyer on Nebraska.
But it was closer to the
national championships.
Yeah, that was 2004.
So Bill took over in 2004.
Yeah.
Nebraska played for a title in the 2001 season.
Right. So it was closer to the fact, it was closer to the glory. We're so far removed now, it's hard.
Yeah, these kids weren't even alive.
No, they weren't alive.
And so, when you go back and study that Callahan era, I mean, they brought in a lot of pros.
Oh, my God. The recruiting operation was strong. And a lot of I wrote recently comparing Rule and Callahan as recruiters. Nobody pushed back. I think people kind of understand that the problem with the Callahan era wasn't a lack of talent, wasn't lack of recruiting. There's just some, I don't know, his staff wasn't perfect.
Well, schematically, they weren't ready for the offenses of 2007. That's really the long and short of it.
Big 12.
I mean, Kevin Cosgrove had never win against those offenses in the Big 10 all his years at Wisconsin. And the 2007 Big 12 offenses changed offenses in college football. And
it's kind of it's
the 2007 Big 12 changed offenses all around college football. The no huddle, the spread, everything that we see dominate the game today. The 2007 Big 12 kind of was the beginning of that.
Yeah.
And it got a guy fired.
Yeah, it did.
After he played in the Cotton Bowl the year before.
But Bill Callahan and Rule do remind me of each other and how dogged they are, but also how organized they are. They have a plan. Bill had a plan. I mean, there's no doubt. That Rule has a plan. I mean, it's not just throwing stuff against the wall. And what we've seen at Nebraska too with some other coaches, Sean, it's not just trying to throw something together at the end. It's always it always feels like there's a lot of structure to it.
Yeah.
And Sean, you've covered it closer than I have. I've not always felt that way here. That there's certain coaches that we've covered that it wasn't as structured as this.
Yeah, you're not seeing like scrambling and recruiting going on.
That's what I mean.
Like where it's late night and you're just throwing out last minute offers.
Right. Right.
I could use some other analogies,
but
I
just prefer you not.
I kept it clean.
Thank you, Sean.
You can use your imagination.